Welcome to Session 6, Observing and Monitoring Behavior. This session will guide you in implementing and adjusting your classroom management plan and discipline plans that you've created in other sessions. The outcome for this particular session is understanding the importance of being able to circulate and scan student behaviors. While teaching, we're going to observe students for behaviors to praise and misbehaviors to correct. Research from the 70s, and still supported today, is the notion of effective teachers having both with-itness and in-touchness. By circulating throughout the room as much as possible, and by using visual and auditory scanning, you stay in touch with all parts of the classroom. You're looking and listening and also mentally paying attention to information. How does observing facilitate teaching? Well, at this point, you've structured your classroom, you've set up a plan to teach behavior expectations, and now you're going to learn the importance of observing student behavior and how that helps teaching. Let's think of an example using a police officer and traffic rules. If a police officer's visual, most people follow the driving rules. If you're with someone you respect or care about, you're more likely to follow driving rules because you want to impress and you don't want to disappoint. The Department of Transportation observes patterns and problem areas, they collect data, and then they post signs or patrol more areas to prevent driving violations and to ensure safety. You can use these ideas to understand how observation facilitates teaching. Basically, your presence and your relationship and your visuals and your cueing are going to facilitate the success of your plan. I think we're using this example, but we certainly want to keep in mind that we're not just observing students for problems. We're also observing them for opportunities so that we can give the class and individuals positive feedback. We're going to discuss this later on in classroom management sessions when we consider opportunities to respond, and we talk about ratios of interaction in other sessions. You certainly want to think about being unpredictable when you're circulating the room. And when you do circulate the room, you want the focus to be on student work and desired behavior. It's especially important to circulate during independent work periods and cooperative group activities. Proximity is itself a corrective technique for early stage misbehavior, but more importantly, it communicates your concern for and your interest in students. If someone engages in misbehavior, you will likely notice if you're circulating the room. Moving around the room as much as possible and scanning the room allows you to stay in touch with all parts of the classroom. So keep it moving. This table kind of summarizes the purposes and the key points of auditory and visual scanning. It's worth a note here to think about auditory scanning and noise level. It's perfectly normal for noise level to rise when students are excited and engaged in learning, and therefore would not warrant corrective feedback. The level may also decrease when a conflict occurs or someone's in the room. And part of the purposes of your scanning the room and learning your classroom visually and auditorily is that you will know when something's different and when the feedback from the teacher would be important. Sometimes it's important to consider and be intentional about when we can scan. Certainly in between small group work, between your progress monitoring or student conferences, when you're transitioning your instructional time. These are times when you can be intentional about scanning. And once you start doing it, it does become a more natural part of your teaching.